Being President of the United States is no easy job. Some rise to the occasion, while others fall hard, from corruption and scandal to sheer incompetence. Today, we're counting down the 10 worst U.S. presidents in American history. And believe me, number one will surprise you. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This list is based on historical consensus, public opinion, and long-term impact, not personal bias or political leaning. Historians and scholars often debate these rankings, but we've compiled names most commonly criticized for their failures, both in and out of office. Number 10, George W. Bush. Starting off the list is George W. Bush. While many admire his leadership after September 11th, his presidency is overshadowed by the Iraq War, launched under the false claim of weapons of mass destruction. The war cost over $2 trillion and thousands of lives. Then came Hurricane Katrina, a natural disaster turned political disaster, with the government's response criticized as slow and incompetent. His 2008 financial crisis left the economy in freefall as he exited office. Number 9, Herbert Hoover, the 31st president in office from 1929 to 1933. Hoover was inaugurated at the end of the Roaring Twenties. He was president for the start of the Great Depression, which resulted from the easy credit of the 1920s and the stock market crashing. A few months after his inauguration, during a single term, he initiated policies that plummeted the economy. During the Great Depression, he became an awful leader by causing trade conflicts. He also refused unconditional aid to those suffering, despite cutting taxes and launching initiatives to boost employment. He failed to address human suffering. Number 8, Millard Fillmore. Millard Fillmore is remembered mostly for signing the Fugitive Slave Act, a law that forced citizens to return escaped enslaved people. This move enraged the North, empowered the South, and pushed the country closer to civil war. His efforts to preserve the Union ironically tore it apart. Number 7, William Henry Harrison, the 9th president, in office from March to April of 1841. Harrison is primarily remembered for his really short term, the shortest in U.S. history, which is ironic given he gave the longest inauguration speech in the country's history. However, before he was sworn in, he was in the Army and was appointed the governor of the Indiana Territory. During that time, he initiated treaties with various indigenous American groups, which resulted in them becoming refugees, and led the army against indigenous American leader Tecumseh during the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811 in the Indiana Territory. As he only served for a month, virtually no documentation of his time in office is available. Number 6, Franklin Pierce, the 14th president, in office from 1853 to 1857. Pierce's administration is considered a cause of the Civil War. As a Democrat, he believed that abolitionism was a threat to unity in the country. He was also inexperienced, handing out appointments for his cabinet to friends and close associates, regardless of experience and qualifications. This is also known as cronyism. He also signed the infamous Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which repealed the Compromise of 1820. The Kansas-Nebraska Act led to a state war that would be later known as Bleeding Kansas, and is considered a cause of the Civil War. Number 5, Donald J. Trump. The 45th president was in office from 2017 to 2021, before returning to office as our current president, the 47th. Trump has done more harm than good. During his first term, he appointed secretaries in his cabinet with no political experience and failed to create a clear federal policy against COVID-19. He also challenged ethical policy and attempted to disrupt the peace transfer of power on January 6, 2021. Donald Trump faced 2 impeachments in his first term, one for abuse of power, the other for inciting an insurrection. Critics cite his handling of COVID-19, rise in political polarization, and undermining of democratic institutions. Supporters praise his economy and foreign policy, but historians mostly agree his legacy is one of chaos and controversy. Number 4, Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses S. Grant, the Civil War hero, struggled with governance. His presidency was riddled with corruption and scandal, not by him, but by his appointees. From the whiskey ring to the credit mobilier scandal, Grant's lack of political skill let crooks run wild. Number 3, Andrew Johnson. The 17th president in office from 1865 to 1869, Johnson is not only considered one of the worst presidents in U.S. history, but he is also the first president to be impeached. He rejected policies during Reconstruction which helped the newly freed slaves, such as the 14th Amendment, which granted those formerly in shackles full citizenship. He also pardoned ex-Confederate soldiers and fired the previous president, Abraham Lincoln's Secretary of War Edward Stanton, which violated the Tenure of Office Act of 1864, leading to Andrew Johnson's impeachment in 1868. Number 2, James Buchanan. The 15th president in office from 1857 to 1861, Buchanan is notorious for being hypocritical, even before being sworn in or even elected. While he did condemn slavery as an unjustifiable wrong, he backed up a number of agreements that allowed slavery into the western regions in the growing country. Furthermore, his response to the secession crisis leading up to the Civil War didn't help his reputation much either, as he saw the Constitution in an explicit interpretation, saying that the Constitution doesn't allow him to take action against would-be seceders. So, he didn't do anything as president while the situation worsened. At number 1 is Warren G. Harding. His administration was a parade of corruption, most infamously the Teapot Dome scandal, where government officials took bribes for oil leases. Harding was personally popular, but surrounded himself with cronies and had little grasp of governance. Even he once admitted, "He is not fit for this office and should have never been here." And that is true, as he was wrapped up in various scandals and wrongdoings. An example would be the Teapot Dome scandal in Ohio, even though he swore he would return to normalcy. Following Woodrow Wilson's administration, he didn't necessarily know what that meant. He wasn't a deep thinker nor a decisive president. Also, admittedly, he didn't see himself as a leader nor caretaker and outright avoided issues that were brought in his cabinet. Some presidents didn't make the top 10, but deserve mention. Richard Nixon for Watergate, John Tyler, who sided with the Confederacy, Benjamin Harrison, who accelerated government spending but left little lasting legacy. Leadership is about more than just power. It's about judgment, ethics, and the ability to unite. These 10 presidents fell short in different ways, some through corruption, others through inaction or divisiveness. But history judges them not just by their intentions, but by their consequences. What do you think? Did we miss someone? Do you agree with this list? Let us know in the comments. And remember, every president leave a legacy for better or worse. Thanks for watching.